What's up, you dirt? CJ, Hallie, Blue, you're off camera.
No.
We're back. Hello, do you miss me? That's a no. Jerks. Could say yes. That's okay. It's okay to say yes. I won't get mad. Yeah, jerks. So, show's over. First things first, what did you think of the episode?
That's sad.
This episode said? I thought it was a happy ending, personally. The whole thing was sad?
Well, it's sad that, Viola's bitch ass never died. For reals. Just let her spirit pass on.
Her spirit's never gonna pass on. That's the whole thing about her spirit. So that she's seen that coming a little bit. But you got, the au pair's hand on the gardener's shoulder at the end. That's so happy. It's perfectly splendid.
I think it came, full circle at the end. Which is nice. I think they wrapped things up nicely. There were no loose ends.
I hated the episode. Yeah. I didn't think they wrapped things up nicely at all. I think they rushed it because they were they had a good premise and they had a good story.
Yeah.
Who are you letting in?
Baby kitty. Oh, meow, meow. Oh, no.
The baby kitty. Where was I? Yeah, I just feel like the whole thing is rushed. It's all sentimental and it's not really a horror story, it's a love story. And they tricked us by saying it's a horror story.
By giving the haunting.
Yeah, it's
I liked it, but he's not really one for a drama show.
I don't like drama, period. I have enough drama in my life. Secondly, I don't mind a chick flick.
I don't think...
If I'm watching a chick flick, my expectations have to be at chick flick level.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A level. If you're telling me I'm watching something scary, give me something scary.
I thought it was a good story, you turd.
Jump scare here.
Such a negative Nancy this past couple days, guys. It's just because he's in a bad mood.
No. What are you talking about?
He's really shitting on these episodes.
This episode and the last episode really sucked for the series. The series was okay up until here. I was doing nothing but being positive about it.
It's like...
If you go back and watch the episodes, you can see I was super positive. I was like, oh, the story's not bad.
I didn't think it would end like that.
Yeah, it all just felt rushed.
I thought they were all going to die.
It was one of those... It gives you the sense of those stories that are at the end of the movie, everyone wakes up and it was it was just a dream. I get that it was just some lady telling a story. That's not the problem. The problem is how they wrapped it all up in a nice little bow. It's all rushed and artificial, and the story was it had its plot and it had its story and it had you guessing, it had you going, it had you suspense, had all this stuff that just had you going. And then yesterday's episode hit and it gives you this needless backstory to this lady that was just dragged on, which even if you wanted to tell that story good, you could have still done it in just half an episode and gave us more story for a real story that we're attached to. And then this episode hits and it's just a wrap up. That's all it is.
The spirits finally get released. The curse kind of breaks.
Yeah, the curse breaks because the au pair takes the lady of the lake into her body, and then she has to live with her until she finally wants to come out. And they don't even give you... It's so fast and abruptly ended that it doesn't even give you a reason why the lady of the lake was it's time to come out now. It wasn't an anniversary of her death or something. It wasn't, something big that made it happen. It was just okay, time to show myself. Sorry, baby kitty.
She likes to play in the litter.
Yeah, she's weird. It was just all so much for me that I was not a fan of this ending. I didn't. Like, give me something. Give me more. Like, why does the Lady Lake want to kill her soon-to-be wife now that gay marriage is finally being legal? Like, what was...
She's still full of rage.
She's always been full of rage, but it's been 12 years now.
But
It's been 12 years.
Danny said she felt like that quiet, like that thick jungle, like she's full of, it's not peaceful.
When it first took her over, and then she had peace. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, it's been 12 years. What number is 12?
I'm gonna completely take over her body.
She didn't even completely take over. She just was like, I'm gonna be a part of your dreams now, and you're gonna see me more in reflections. Why? What did this? What was the kerosene to that fire? What made the Lady Lake be like, now is the time? It didn't give us that. It gave us this giant story about the Lady Lake and her backstory, but it didn't give us the reasons why the Lady Lake took the au pair over after 12 years.
Now Danny's the Lady of the Lake, so she's more peaceful.
No, the Lady of the Lake is now Danny. There's a difference. Because Danny is still Danny. But the Lady Lake is also Danny. Does that make sense? That's why she doesn't haunt anyone anymore, and she's all nice now. Because it's Danny being Danny, and the Lady Lake is Danny. But Danny is not the Lady of the Lake.
Okay.
Because if Danny was the Lady of the Lake, she'd be evil still.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I get what they were trying to do, and I get the story, and I get the plot, and I get it. But why? Is what I'm saying. Why? And if this Lady of the Lake, I thought they were going to give us, like, more story, like, you know, everyone who's ever lived in that house had to see the Lady of the Lake. Because that's kind of what they did in that backstory yesterday, where, you know, anyone who ever got in her way, whether it was a priest or a doctor.
Well, I didn't understand that when
she killed her.
When the kids first saw her, so when the kids first saw her kill Peter, this is before the backstory, I was like,
the episode before. And it was still great.
I was like, the Lady of the Lake, like, it must have been something that, like,
Peter did or something.
Peter did. Like,
yes, that's what I thought too. But no, then they gave us that shitty backstory.
They threw it all the way back to the 1600s and created a plot hole. Because then you're like, oh, this is the kids' first time seeing her? Like,
well, no, because the kids knew the Lady of the Lake was there. The kids already seen her multiple times. She was the one that made the dirt on the floor that Hannah was constantly cleaning up, blah, blah. But, in a viewer standpoint, like, you're like, oh, Peter really did something wrong for this Lady of the Lake to kill him now. You know, like, he really messed up.
Yeah, like,
and that's what the story tells you.
Her off.
Yeah,
she just kills everybody that she encounters.
Yeah, and then you get that stupid fucking backstory, which is just like.
And then she
kills everyone.
She walks to the bedroom, like the parents' bedroom, the master, I'm assuming, and like stares at anyone who's sleeping in that bed.
And if it's a kid, she takes it and drowns it.
So you're telling me the parents never saw her?
Ever. And neither did, the parents that lived there. The uncle, he lived there as a child with the dad. And they didn't see the Lady of the Lake. Like, they give you this, like, little, like, sprinkling of salt where the dad at one point, is like, oh, well, no, it was Peter. Was it Peter? Who was it?
No, it was Henry. He said he had, like,
a best friend. Oh, it was Henry.
A best friend who was a soldier.
Who was a soldier. Who won, we never saw as a dead ghost ever.
We never saw the plague doctor either.
We got to see him at the end. But, like, okay, so you saw some ghosts and then they stopped scaring you, but that's all you told us. You didn't mention this Lady of the Lake before. Like, she's been around for 400 stinking years, like, killing people. Just anyone who gets in her way, dead. Like, anyone who sleeps in that bed should be dead, right? By that logic, by the logic that they gave us yesterday, anything in that bed is dead. Because if it's a kid, she doesn't kill them right away like she does adults. She picks them up and then takes them back to the lake and drowns them because that's where her stupid fucking chest is buried, right? That's the whole logic, the story that they gave us. Why? Why give us that stupid freaking backstory? It makes so many plot holes and just tears the story apart. And, like, I could have watched that whole show 8 episodes, not even got that backstory, would have been like, this show was awesome, a little chick flicky, but dope. But now I got this freaking backstory
that created a plot hole.
that created so many plot holes, like plot hole after plot hole. Like, if people kept dying in the house, like, why do they keep selling the house? You know, if everyone who lives there, who's gonna be like, I'm gonna live there? And why is the garden still being kept up with if there's no lawn keeper? You know what I mean? Like, is the house always in that great of condition because she's the ghost? Take the baby cake. Wanna go up there? Nope. Sorry. Yeah. Netflix, take the 8th episode off. You'll have a much better show. I promise you. The only reason that episode's there to make you feel more feelings for this Lady of the Lake. And that doesn't work with anyone who wants a good story. That works for people who don't think about the story afterwards, who don't care enough. They just want the emotion. And yeah, sure, leave it in for those people. But are those really the people that are watching all your shows? Let's be honest. You're not creating new shows just for emotion, because you could just have puppy videos.
I also think that they shouldn't. So the episode right before that was a really good episode.
Yeah,
I thought, like, it really built it up, so I was really excited.
Yeah, there was suspense, and we were like, yes,
so it was
let's go.
That episode was almost like a too long commercial break, where you're like, oh, like I kind of lost my emotional connection with what was building up, and then you get to that last episode, and you're just kind of like,
yeah, because you have too much emotion now for the stupid Lady of the Lake. So now you finally agree with me after arguing with me, saying I was wrong? You agree that was pointless, the whole episode?
Yeah, because then you have like this emotional attachment to Lady Lake, where you almost like...
that you don't care anymore. Like, you don't care about anything, really, in the show anymore that's happening in the show, because you're like, oh, well, you have to have sympathy for the Lady of the Lake because she's had such a bad life. She's playing with paper.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it ruins everything. Like, why is that episode in here? Why, you guys? Oh. Other than that, the entire series, I will recommend this show to anyone who wants to watch it.
Oh.
You know, anyone who asks about it, I will recommend it. I will just tell them, skip the 8th episode. It's stupid, and it kills the show for you.
A good show to binge. It would be a good binge-watching show.
I think it would be a good show to have multiple episodes, like a 30-episode run of, not just 9, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like that Lady Lake sub-episode, leave it in if you're making 30 episodes long. Like, sure, that's, you know, I might have mentioned this in yesterday's stream. That's a good chapter in a long-ass book. You know what I mean? If you're reading a book and you're in, like, chapter 12, that's a great chapter 12 out of, like, 32. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is what the Lady Lake's about. And then she kills 20 more people through the rest of the book. And you're like, oh, my God, she's, like, still killing people. Like,
she's still full of rage.
Not the episode before it ends. Start the show with that. Anything, anything but what the order is, it ruins the show.
I also would like to have a moment where when the spirits, like a more
emotional moment for the spirits to be like released.
They just kind of like
vanished.
We never got to see like Rebecca like have her moment where she's finally free.
Yep.
Or like Peter, like
Peter's the only one we got any emotion from. And he was just saying so sorry to Miles.
And then even like,
and he's crying. He's got like a single tear.
Like even Owen, like it. I feel like they should have come together and had a moment.
Like maybe she touched him, but he can't see her, but he can feel her touch as she vanishes.
I feel like those two characters, two really, really well written characters, deserved more. And
everything deserved more. Everything deserves more.
They deserve.
Why did Peter get the emotional goodbye when he's the one going to hell? Literally,
that's why he's crying.
The part of so the ghosts, they're trapped in these loops of their memories. They're ghosts. That's what they do. Every single loop that we saw was a good loop. That's because they're in their like heaven, right? That's their afterlife. That's what their soul is meant to be in. So they're in a good loop. They get to see something happy and something Peter's was hell. Peter's was sucky. He's going to hell. He's gonna die. Why give him the emotional goodbye?
I don't know. Well, told you I'm upset about it because I normally with these kind of shows I'd get a little teary at the end, but it didn't make me tear up because I was expecting more of an emotional goodbye from those characters.
I was expecting I kind of saw this whole sadness thing, not sadness, because I didn't really think this last episode was that sad. But I saw this whole emotional wrapping up happening, and I thought it was all going to be so much more of a tearjerker. Baby kitty, come here. Give me that. There we go. No more paper.
Mama kitty.
Get the baby. Get the baby kitty.
Do your job, Mama. I'm so lazy. You're so lazy.
Yeah, I was expecting so much more of a tearjerker and so much more emotion from this last episode.
I was emotionally preparing myself to
It wrapped up. It was almost like Netflix was like, all right, I know we told you 15 episodes, but it's 9 now, and you're on episode 9 now.
Some Grey's Anatomy type drama where they start playing the sad music and shit, and then you're like, oh my god!
I was expecting all the ghosts to glow.
Yes.
And vanish.
Yes, really dramatic.
Something,
right?
Yeah, like you see the witch, because that's when we get to see the witch doctor.
That movie?
Okay. But he's just standing there. He doesn't even vanish. Did you notice that? Did you notice the witch doctor never even vanished? He was just standing there in the hallway.
I was expecting something if you guys have ever seen the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze, and the part at the end.
Yeah.
The part at the end where he has to go back, he leaves his wife, it's
to go to heaven.
To go to heaven. And it's a really, really emotional ending. Granted, that was a whole movie, but it really, they played
this
music.
This was 6 movies, though.
I know, they set the scene.
This was 9 hours of our life.
I just feel
And the first 7 were great.
It's when you write a really beautiful essay, but then your conclusion is really shit.
You don't know how to end a story.
You don't know how to end a story.
You're you got all this work done, and then you're the end. Exactly what I said earlier.
3 of my favorite characters, Rebecca, Hannah, and Owen, they got shit endings.
Yes.
And I'm upset about it, especially Rebecca. I'm upset about her ending because they were really focused in the middle of the story on she was so upset because she was stuck, she wasn't free. So I really thought they were gonna really do something up with symbolizing that she was finally free of Peter.
That was awesome.
Free of Bly Manor.
I also hated I get the symbolism. I understand the symbolism. I'm not a fan of the symbolism they chose to put in here. But the kids not remembering the people that saved their lives.
That pissed me off. That pissed me off.
You know how long trauma sticks with people?
That pissed Danny off, too.
Do you understand how long trauma actually sticks with people in real life? People are messed up from stuff that happened when they were 3. You know what I mean? A child seeing that many people die
and then
would be a very extreme event.
Telling the whole story and Flora.
9 hours worth of story. Who would sit through a Gardner story 9 hours long?
The only part that Flora thought was funny is that the little girl's name was Flora.
Yeah, which was her middle name. Because so obviously the Gardner, Jamie, when she was telling the story to this group of people, she made little changes, use their middle names as their real names. But and clearly they're in Bly Manor.
Yeah.
And you don't see freaking Danny walking around at the end. Maybe even show Danny, after the story's wrapped up and she tells her story and everyone leaves the room. And then Jamie's sitting there in the room in the fire and she just this is my end of my story. Maybe that's when Danny walks up and puts her hand on her shoulder. Anything. Give me more emotion.
The only emotional tearful part of this is when Jamie discovers Danny in the lake and she's pissed. She's upset.
That was not emotional to me.
It was a little bit. I said the most emotional. I mean, I didn't cry. I cry at stuff like that.
No, I know. I'm trying to think of what I thought was the most emotional. I want to say somewhere near the beginning, I kept thinking Danny was going to kill Rebecca, or I kept thinking Danny was going to kill Jamie.
Making me nervous about that.
Like that, like the Lady Lake is going to come out of me. Okay, 12 years later, she's still going to come out of me. Like, all right, how is she going to come out? Is she going to kill you? Is she finally going to get peace of mind for being in you for 12 years? Like, I thought when they fast forwarded 12 years, it was going to be like, oh, me and the Lady Lake are like one person now, and everything is okay. And she finally gets to move on to anything. I thought that was going to be something.
I really thought they were going to make it that lady was finally going to be able to move on.
Yeah, like be free or something.
I really thought that was going to happen.
She doesn't get to move on. Nothing gets wrapped up. Everything's kind of terrible. And not even the good kind of terrible. Like, when stories end and it's like emotional and sad and, you don't get a real ending.
Yeah.
But that story's made to be made that way. Yeah. We don't get that here. This was a real ending for this episode, for the show. There's no real cliffhanger. It's just a bad ending. Bad ending story writing. And I have bad English talking, but that doesn't matter because I'm not getting paid professionally to be
just like a
Netflix writer. What? Maybe it's a what?
I read a book like this. I was reading the book Normal People. There's also a show on Hulu.
Was it after the book? Bad ending?
The ending.
Terrible?
I was legit, like I was really emotionally attached to these characters. For real. Like I really fell in love with both of them. And the ending, like, didn't shatter my heart, but it really disappointed me. Like, it was such an emotional letdown. I wanted.
I don't even care when things don't give me what I want. Like, as long as I have an ending that is logical and satisfying. Even if it's not something that I wanted, like, oh, I want these two to get together. Or, oh, I want this to happen. That doesn't happen. That's fine. You know what I mean? But something else happens instead. This didn't give me something else happens. This is just like, okay, the end. This is in essence people waking up from a dream and saying none of that was real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just bad storytelling. Like, it doesn't take much to change a little bit of that last episode to make it better.
Oh yeah. You know what? Hold up.
Oh, she's flipping her hair and she's getting
You know what else is a big plot hole? Where the fuck is Danny's fiance? Where the fuck did that glasses guy go?
Oh no, that's not a plot hole. They wrapped that up in that episode where they were like, you know what a bonfire is? A bonfire is where we throw bones into a fire.
Oh,
and then we release the spirits.
That was kind of an emotional letdown too. Now I'm looking back.
The plot hole of that though, because like you're on the right track of that being a plot hole. Not for the right reason though. Like that is a plot hole, but not for the way you're thinking. Because I understand you're trying to say like he's supposed to still be around somewhere, but then all her attention gets focused on Lady Lake instead. So he's just out of her mind, right? No, he was released from her when she burnt the glasses. But if his spirit was there, he should have been stuck there. I know he didn't die there. I understand he didn't die there, so he technically doesn't have to be stuck there.
That place, though.
Yes, if his spirit was there, though, he should have been stuck there.
See, that's what.
But they didn't address that. He was just let go when she burnt the glasses. She was moving on to the new lover, is what that scene was supposed to represent. That's literally all of it. I think he was supposed to maybe be a bad dream.
He's not an actual spirit.
I don't think it was an actual spirit.
Then Flora could see him.
No, Flora could see Hannah. No, not Hannah. Flora could see Rebecca.
And it was Rebecca that was behind
Danny the whole time.
Oh.
That's what it was. Sadly. Because the next episode, the day after that episode, we noticed that Rebecca's constantly walking around behind Danny. So you're like, oh, that makes sense because Danny has her hairpin, Rebecca's hairpin.
Oh.
And Flora looks up and goes, never mind, it's okay. You remember? So
yeah.
It wasn't the boyfriend, it was Rebecca. Also disappointing, yes, but a little more closure, I guess, for you. So that's good. I don't know, you guys. It wasn't the best. We still got 3 more days of Halloween stuff, so hopefully we can watch some good scary movies this next couple days. I promise you, either today or Friday. Ooh, we should do it Friday. That way you can paint my face. We're going to watch Rocky Horror on Friday because she's never seen it, and I'm excited. And it's like one of the best movies ever. So look forward to that. On Friday, we're going to be watching Rocky Horror Picture Show. Love that movie. Yeah, till then, peace out. Love you, squad. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Hope everything is being all kooky, spooky, scary for Halloween month. I love this month. I love that I'm allowed to love this month. Only during this month, because when I, try to be spooky anytime in the rest of the year, people look at me silly. But fuck them. All right, I love you guys. Peace out.